Welcome back for day 9 of January, guys. Today we are refreshing our space and preparing for a That Girl semester, and I'm super duper excited. And I also got this really cool vase filler, and it has like moss and stuff inside of it. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to fill this little bowl that I got. I'm so excited because today is day 9 of January. We've been making a lot of strides. Today is actually the day before the start of my semester. Today is the first day of classes, but I don't have class on Mondays. So this morning I headed over to the dealership. As you guys know, yesterday I got a nail in my tire, which was kind of unfortunate, but shout out to the 2021 version of me in December. When I purchased my vehicle, I got tire warranty. So they took a look at my tire, they ordered a new tire. So shout out to God because that's handled. I'm so excited because today we are going to be preparing for a That Girl semester. We do this every semester and it seems to be very helpful for you guys. So the very first thing that I like to do is take a look at my schedule and get everything into my Google Calendar. That's the way that I'm able to keep track of all my assignments, my due dates, discussion boards, tests, exams, you name it. It is all in my Google Calendar. But before we even get into the preparation for a That Girl semester, I have to show you guys my new living room. Over the course of this month, I plan to revamp some spaces in my apartment, and I started with my living room. I'm so excited, guys. I went to Target and I found these pillows. In my fall vlog, I talked about how I was looking for the perfect pillows, and every time I've gone to Target, I also went to Home Goods, I went everywhere, and I never could find exactly what I was looking for. But today was my lucky day and I found these beautiful neutral tone pillows. I think they tie in really well with my prints that are above my couch. These prints are from Zura Prints. There's 2 of them actually, so you guys can see them both. But just look at the way that this looks. I think it just looks so sophisticated and just, oh my God. Like, my living room looked good before, but like it looks amazing now. I think this is by far the best it's looked. I don't know about you guys, but revamping my space totally excites me about coming home to my oasis, because school can be so stressful, it can be so anxiety inducing, but I know at the end of the day I can come here and I can be calm. And I'm so uber grateful for all of you for continuing to support me throughout this January series and supporting my business, That Life Planning. You guys have allowed me to reach my sales goal for the first week of the year, and I'm super excited. It's a small goal, a very small milestone, but we did it. I want to reach more people, so make sure that you are telling all of your friends, all of your girl bosses, every woman that you know in your life that needs to get a handle on things, that needs to start preparing and planning so that they can succeed this year. Make sure to send them the That Life Planner. I will greatly appreciate it, guys. I have another project planned for my bathroom. I really want to revamp that and make it a vibe. I think it's really cute for now. It's very simple, minimal, but I really want it to be an oasis where I can pamper myself and really feel good. So that'll be happening in like the next week or so. So make sure you guys stay tuned and make sure you have my notification bell turned on so that you can see all these mini projects that I'm doing every day on this January series. And if you guys decide to revamp your space, make sure to tag me on Instagram at rikkilee.co. When I revamped my dorm room, it was crazy to me that by now, I never would have thought, but like there are at least 8 girls around the country that have the exact same dorm room as me. They've tagged me in their videos, they've shown me the decor, and I think that's absolutely insane. So I'm just really excited to have this oasis in this place that I can come back to and feel calm after a really crazy day. So what we're gonna do now is focus on getting all of my information translated over to my Google Calendar as far as like my weekly schedule. I'm also gonna fill it out on my That Life Planner, and then I'm gonna show you guys a little tour of my Notion because some of you requested that. So let's get into it. Like I always say, and how I've been saying this entire series, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. This semester, we're not doing that. We're going to be proactive and we're going to get everything that we need to get done. Yesterday, I went in and I checked my schedule just to make sure that everything was aligned that I wanted to be doing and that all of my classes were in alignment with what I wanted for myself. If you're taking a class and you know you're not going to enjoy it, it's a GE and you're just like, oh, I'm going to dread this, I have no interest in it, then I promise you, find something else, get waitlisted for it, and then just wait to be added a couple days into the semester. And I find that when I'm not really enjoying something that I'm learning, I'm less likely to focus, and I'm more likely to just make up a bunch of excuses on as to why I hate the class. The thing that I love about Google Calendar is you can make multiple different separate calendars, and in each of those calendars you can make different settings for your notifications. The way in which I use my Google Calendar is a way to keep track of all of my assignments. Now, some people just like to use the Carmen calendar, import that, and leave it at that, but I find that you're not able to see which specific class an assignment is due for. That used to drive me crazy. So you want to make sure that you are utilizing separate calendars for each course so that you can keep track of when assignments are due for each course. Now that you've created calendars for each of your classes, what you're going to do now is create events for each course. So the first event that I like to create is the actual class, and I repeat that weekly, and you can edit it so that it only repeats on the specific days that you have to meet for the class. Load up the weekly view, and I'm going to start with my very first class that starts at 8 a.m. and I'm going to add it in. That is my intro to ceramics class. So I'm just going to put like ceramics class. That's the name of it. Change the calendar that it's on. It's on my intro to ceramics class. And then I can add the location. For a lot of you who are navigating new campuses, I think that can be very, very useful. Just add the hall you will be meeting at for that course. And that is a way that I can navigate it to it, especially for those of you who are commuting to class. This is very, very helpful. Add that it repeats. It says does not repeat. I'm going to do custom. It repeats every Tuesday and Thursday every week on April 24th is when I'm going to make sure that that is the last day that this repeats. That's the first class, so now it's shown up on my calendar, and we're going to repeat the same thing for each class. And because of the type A person that I am, I also have to get this down in my That Life planner. I use my weekly dashboard, the schedule portion, to block off the time slots for all of my classes throughout the week. And then I'm able to see at a glance when are those time slots that I have the freedom to do things like social outings, club meetings, or even just extracurriculars. This is really helpful for those of you who are struggling with work-life balance. I know it's easy to think that you have the time to do this, and that. You consult your schedule finally and you see that you don't. So to avoid that at all costs this year, we are going to be using a planner so that we can plan to succeed. To prepare for any major transition in my life, I always make sure to make my space anew, because growing up, my mom always shared with me that your space is a direct reflection of your mind. And when I'm living in chaos, that is a direct reflection of how my mind is cluttered. And so I really want, as I go into this season of absolute havoc, to have a space that is kind of like a safe haven for myself, because this is really my escape from reality. And I made sure to do this space refresh just so that I could come back to a place of prosperity and peace, and really just take care of my own mental health in this holistic space that I've created for myself. And I really encourage you all, even if you just invest $25 in some lights or just something to set the ambiance. My Notion is my pride and joy. You guys have seen this. And I talked a little bit about this while I was in New York City. Someone wanted me to give them a little tour of my database. Now, I don't particularly use Notion to like keep track of all my assignments and things of that nature, because it doesn't fully integrate with like Google Calendar or anything like that yet. So I find it much easier to keep track of all my assignments and stuff like that via Google Calendar. But if you guys want a full like Notion tutorial on how to set it up for school, there are plenty of resources here online as well as on TikTok. But I like to use my Notion as like a project management database. So let's take a look. First things first, so this is my dashboard. She's very simple, cute. It just has this up here and it just says, watch me build my empire. I made this earlier this year. I have several different pages. The main ones that I really use are my That Girl plan, as well as this one. I'm gonna give you guys a tour of my That Girl plan first. You guys saw this on, I believe, day 2 of January. I outlined all of my goals for the years using I will statements, and it's very, very powerful. In here, I also keep track of all of my milestones for the year, but this is where it gets good. This is about to get real juicy and kind of intimate. So I hope you guys really, really appreciate what I'm showing you. This is a lot of information, but you know, we all are girl bosses here and we're gonna win this year. I am going to get QuickTime going first and then we'll screen record. So now we're in my Notion. This is kind of crazy, but let's get into it. But I made sure to keep track of my to-dos up here, especially if you're working cross-functionally across a multitude of different projects. And then as far as feedback, I made sure to keep track of that as much as I could throughout the entirety of my internship. There was one specific portion of the internship where we had a review. It was like a mid-internship review. And at that point, I had worked across 4 different projects. So the first one being, overall, the feedback was glowing. You are very quick to contribute. And Chris and Alin spoke very highly of you. Alin being the actual CEO of the corporation, and Chris was like the I can't remember exactly what her title is, but she is like a C-suite exec over strategy within the firm. So things that I could improve upon, of course, were my creative endurance, my ability to communicate roadblocks, which is something that I also struggle with in real life. And because I was given such constructive criticism, I have improved immensely. So when you are working in your internships, like, I know it can be hard to ask for, you know, feedback. I think it's very easy to just be in the weeds of the work and not realize how much you are contributing. And so just ask people, like, how am I doing? Are there any other ways that I can help out? What ways have I been helpful? Like, asking those specific questions and making note of that, especially if they're able to give it to you in writing via email. Like, I would take screen grabs of those sort of things, because when it comes down to your employee review, sometimes companies do them every 90 days, every 6 months, quarterly, like whatever the cadence is at your corporation. You just want to make sure you have these sort of facts in your arsenal, because the same way in which you know your car facts, like you know how many miles your car has, how many accidents it's been in, and all those sort of things, like you want to know your employee facts. But they also informed me, for anyone who is also looking to go into strategy or consulting, it's really good to follow other strategists on Twitter, or to follow literally anyone in your field on Twitter, on Instagram, things of that nature, just so you can see, like, what are the things that they involved with, what are the things that they're talking about, because a lot of people in the profession make predictions about the way things are going, the type of certifications you should be getting, the type of new things and softwares you should be learning, and it's really good to stay abreast on that. So that's just a couple of things. I also tried to keep track of like market research resources and things that they were using in the company. And then I also kept track of words that were used all the time, or words that I thought were very interesting, because like I said, I was working with industry professionals in the strategy realm, which is a very niche industry, but it's very necessary, and they oversee the way in which brands show up and articulate themselves in the world. The reason why Nike has this going on with this campaign is not because of not because of the agency that produced it. It's because of the strategy that this firm produced, then gave to the agency, and then they created the stuff. So it's really high level thinking, and so I had to make sure I kept track of all of the definitions and words that were buzzing in meetings. It's different when you're in the classroom and you're learning about the field, and it's different when you're working in the field. There's a vast difference, and work and company culture is different from agency to agency, from hospital to hospital. Whatever industry that you work in, it's going to be different. So it's great to keep note of these small nuances. And so like in one meeting, they were talking about masstige versus prestige brands, and masstige brands are mass-produced, relatively inexpensive goods that are marketed as luxurious, whereas prestige is like a brand that is actually luxurious, like it increases the status of the consumers who own or use them. But like if I'm going to work with a brand and they're telling me, okay, we're not looking to be exactly prestige, but we're not looking to be like low budget, then I can say, oh, you're looking to be a masstige brand. I can't scroll too far, but just imagine right here, I would color coordinate them, and I would put the name of the project, and then I would create like bullet points of the way in which I contributed to the project. On this particular project, I pitched the idea for a state of progress report on the state of internships. I talked to the person who was head of communications at our firm, and they do a weekly or monthly newsletter on state of progress. And it's called like a progress report on something that is in pop culture or in the real world. And these strategists will create a very rigorous report on what the state of that thing is. And so I was like, we should do one on the state of internships, because interns have vastly changed. Like, you know, we're not coming in and just getting coffee. Like, we are really contributing to conversations. We're changing the way in which things are done. Like, I think we should do one on that. And she was like, I love that idea. Like, let's do it. So that's the first thing. I pitched an idea. And then I provided a clear project skeleton for the project. I provided clear and concise feedback to all of my teammates, and we were able to see through the entirety of this state of progress report, and it was put out and it was successful. And I just made, you know, reference to all of the things that I was able to do and contribute to this project. Now, when I go into an interview, let's say I'm doing interview prep, and I know that one of the questions are going to be, how are you able to oversee a project? When did you exhibit leadership? Because I was able to keep track of all of these projects that I worked on across my 16 weeks of working there, or whatever, like over the course of the summer, I had worked on a project for Olaplex, Smirnoff, New York Times, and Ciroc, as well as this project for the State of Progress report. So imagine for each of those, I have so many bullet points, and I'm able to overlook this because it's easy to forget the way in which you contributed. You're just like, oh, I worked on that, and that's that. But I think it's very impressive in interviews when you're able to speak to the specific things that you were able to do, the quantitative measures and ways in which you were able to contribute, and both the qualitative and quantitative results that were garnered because of the way you were able to contribute. So for one of the projects, I helped create over 250 brainstorm stimuli for an earned media creative learning workshop. 250 brain stimuli is a lot. But I think that directly speaks to my creative rigor and how I'm able to be really quick with coming up with really brilliant ideas. I then, at the end of the summer, was able to pull from each of these projects, I think about 3 to 4 really solid bullet points to contribute to my resume that really speak to the amount of strategic rigor I was able to exhibit throughout this internship, the type of project management, and also creative input that I was able to produce throughout the entirety of this internship. And so for those of you who are looking to do a spring internship or a summer one, it's very imperative that you create this sort of like database for yourself or dashboard so that you can see how you are progressing throughout the summer, the way in which you are creating value add, especially for those of us who are juniors and seniors and looking for a return offer and, you know, just looking to secure a job. Towards the bottom, I'll show you guys a couple of things. I have like some more direct project feedback. I would like take screen grabs of all of the meetings that I was in, the ways in which I was contributing. For one of the meetings, I came up with the icebreaker, and it was so like everyone loved it so much. This was the exact meeting that happened. Like everyone was so excited about the beauty tip that they would give their younger self, and I thought that was really, really cool. So just keep track of like the times when you're having fun. I also kept track of all of the one-on-ones that I did and the coffee walks that I had, and all of the little pointers that they gave to me, and this has definitely helped me. It's really just a great way to journal your experience and also your professional development, and I encourage all of you to do it. So yeah, that's the tour of my Notion. Hopefully that's helpful to somebody. I'm gonna get ready, I'm gonna eat some dinner, and then I'm gonna head out to my meeting. But life is good. I'm so blessed, guys. I'm feeling so highly favored. Just in this past few days, like I feel like the devil has tried to deter me and take me off of my path and get me to go back to my old ways. But just like in the sermon that Pastor Greg gave yesterday, like when you are going through a season of change, there's going to be a period of disorientation. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be very uncomfortable, and you're going to try to find an off-ramp, but you really have to stay focused and steadfast and get through that phase of disorientation. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to have to get through it. And I think more than ever, I'm going to have to keep that message in mind as we go throughout this semester, you guys as well, that these classes are not going to be easy. Like college is not for the weak. I try to be as transparent with you guys as possible because I know a lot of your parents and your peers may say to you like, you know, you have to change your study habits and things of that nature once you go into college, but that's real, y'all. Like it's real life. It's not a joke. A lot of the material that you have to learn, you may not learn exactly in the classroom. So you're going to have to do the work outside of class, really getting into your textbook and doing Quizlets and going to office hours. And sometimes that's going to be disorienting. It's not going to feel good to know that you're not good at something when you've always been great at everything. But that's where you have the growth and the self-improvement, and that's how you're able to mature as a person, because you realize that everything isn't going to be sunshine and rainbows. Like, you're going to have to put in the work sometimes, but I think anything worth having is worth working for. You know what I'm saying? So this degree is worth having. I'm going to have to work for it, guys. Last semester definitely beat me down, but I'm not going to allow it to win. I'm definitely going to come back 10 times stronger this semester with enthusiasm and with passion and with just appreciation for the simple fact that I get to do these things. I get to go to class. I get to get an education. I get to be a leader here on campus. Like, these are things that I get to do. And it's like, who am I to sit here and complain, you know? So I'm definitely taking a posture of gratitude and grace as we go into this new semester. And I pray that you guys are able to do the same and have a really awesome semester. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you guys want more detailed information on how to prep for that girl semester, make sure to check out my previous video from last semester. I will have it linked in the description box and also in a card on the video. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.